You need to hear this if you're a history buff. Sunshine and suburbia setting the stage, Los Angeles in the 1950s. Pacific. The post-war boom was in full swing, and Los Angeles, with its promise of opportunity and a sun-kissed lifestyle, became a magnet for dreamers and doers. This was the era of tail-fin cars, drive-in movies, and the birth of rock and roll. A time of both optimism and underlying tensions, as the country grappled with social change and the Cold War cast a long shadow. Los Angeles in the 1950s was a city of contrasts. The burgeoning suburbs epitomized by the San Fernando Valley offered affordable housing and a chance for families to live the American dream. Rows of newly built houses with their manicured lawns and picket fences embodied the aspirations of a generation. Downtown Los Angeles, with its Art Deco skyscrapers and bustling department stores, remained the commercial and cultural hub. But change was in the air, as freeways began to snake their way across the landscape, forever altering the city's fabric. A day in the life, family, work and leisure in 50s LA. For many Angelenos, the 1950s revolved around family and work. The traditional family structure was the norm, with fathers often commuting to jobs in the city while mothers stayed home to manage the household and raise the children. Life was often centered around the home and the neighborhood. Children played outside until dusk, their games echoing in the warm evening air. Neighbors gathered for barbecues, sharing stories and laughter over plates of hot dogs and potato salad. Sundays were often reserved for church and family outings. A drive to the beach, a picnic in Griffith Park, or a trip to Disneyland, which opened its doors in Anaheim in 1955, provided welcome respite from the work week. Television, still in its infancy, was becoming increasingly popular, and families would gather around their black and white sets to watch shows like I Love Lucy and The Ed Sullivan Show. The Dodgers' move from Brooklyn to Los Angeles in 1958 ignited a passion for baseball, bringing people together at the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum to cheer on their new home team. The beat goes on. Culture, cars and change. The 1950s were a time of profound cultural shifts, and Los Angeles was at the forefront of many of these changes. The rise of car culture was perhaps the most visible manifestation of this new era. Owning a car was no longer a luxury but a necessity in sprawling Southern California. Stylish automobiles with their chrome accents and tail fins became symbols of freedom and status. Drive-in movie theaters, a novelty just a few years earlier, became ubiquitous, offering a uniquely Californian way to enjoy a night out. The sounds of rock and roll emanating from jukeboxes in diners and car radios cruising down Sunset Boulevard provided the soundtrack to this changing world. Elvis Presley, Chuck Berry and Little Richard, with their rebellious lyrics and energetic performances, captivated a generation hungry for something new. Yet beneath the surface of this seemingly carefree era, tensions simmered. The burgeoning civil rights movement began to challenge the status quo. The Red Scare, fueled by Senator Joseph McCarthy's anti-communist crusade, cast a pall of suspicion over Hollywood and beyond. Section 4. Googie architecture, from coffee shops to car dealerships. The optimism of post-war America found expression in a new architectural style that flourished in Los Angeles. Googie. Born from the space age and car culture, Googie was characterized by its futuristic designs, bold colors, and whimsical use of materials. Upswept roofs, boomerang shapes, and starbursts adorned diners, motels, and bowling alleys across the city. Buildings like the Theme Building at LAX Airport and the iconic Randy's Donuts, with its giant donut perched atop the shop, became symbols of this uniquely Californian aesthetic. Googie architecture was a celebration of progress and modernity. It reflected the aspirations of a society eager to embrace the future. These buildings, with their playful designs and emphasis on visibility, were designed to catch the eye of motorists whizzing by on the newly built freeways. They were symbols of a city on the move, a city that was constantly reinventing itself. Section 5. Echoes of the 50s, a legacy of innovation and influence. The 1950s left an indelible mark on Los Angeles, shaping its identity and influencing its trajectory for decades to come. The suburban sprawl that began in this era continues to define the city's landscape. The freeways, once symbols of progress, now grapple with the challenges of traffic congestion. The legacy of the entertainment industry, which flourished in this era, continues to make Los Angeles a global center for film and television production. The cultural innovations of the 1950s, from the rise of car culture to the birth of rock and roll, continue to resonate today. The city's laid-back attitude, its embrace of new ideas, and its love affair with the automobile all have roots in this pivotal decade. Los Angeles in the 1950s was a time of great change and even greater promise, a time when the city seemed poised on the brink of a limitless future. Its legacy continues to shape the City of Angels, a reminder of an era that captured the imagination of a nation. Thank you for joining us on this journey through 1950s Los Angeles. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and stay tuned to Histovanes for more historical journeys.